protected, preserved. No place I know of better to see such a collection of the farming frontier as it once was is the Mountain Farm Museum in Cherokee, North Carolina. A self-guided tour, you will see such structures as the Davis House, built in 1899. It is surrounded by such structures as the woodshed, where all the wood was cut, carefully stacked, and awaited winter. The cane mill and molasses shed, where a lot of sorghum was made. Corn crib, probably the most important part of all the mountain farms. The crib provided protection from weather and from animals. The bulk of the crop was loaded over the top and down into the crib. It was usually retrieved from a door on the side. The chicken house. The meat house, usually located closest to the main house for security of the family's meat supply. And my favorite, the blacksmith shop, with its large bellows. The fencing that protected the farm's crops. The buckboard wagons, the light utility trucks of the day. However, there are some barns that do fall into a state of disrepair. Burdens even to some. Join us as we take you along on a 5-day barn reclamation in our neck of the woods in eastern Kentucky. Here, the barn is already fell. The bulk of it is inside some of these trees and then in the dirt. I can show you once we go on in there. But despite what you see on top there and some of this wood in here, look at the walls on the inside. That's the wood we're after. This wood. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful boards, nice and straight. Let them over here, but we gotta be a little bit careful because what's holding up all this running through here, that gives away, which is the wall, which is the boards we want. Then this is all gonna come down on one side anyway, because that wall will hold it up. One thing I do want to try to get out of here is some of these doors, like this one right here. It's the original door, but in here on the hinges. See that? That's early craftsmanship right there. I'll try to remove at least the first board with each door. Get out of here. The wood on top, it's pretty far gone. Now, on top of this used to be a place where they store tobacco. If I can get back in here, I'll show you part of that loft. Well, out the other end of it, I guess. There's some of the tobacco sticks right here. Okay, there we are. When that roof used to be up where it should be, probably could have walked in there. Looks like the middle would have been about 5 feet tall, but that is where they hung their tobacco, up in there. And then Up under here is where they house their horses. There's about 6 different stalls down here. A lot of this wood, and there you can see the bank really well. Let me zoom in back here. That's what's holding everything up. See how it's jammed against that? And jammed against that back there? That's what's holding us up. You may know what that is right there. I'm pretty sure it's upside down. That's a bottom to a buckboard. Anyway, that's where we're at. Taking out a lot of the stuff that's not usable at all. So that stuff's just rotten. That goes in the burn pile. Nobody's even taking it to try to repurpose it. We're at the boards like this right here, especially those back there. But in cleaning out this right-hand side of the front, we unearthed how you used to get up to the loft. Right there. And through, I guess, everything leaning and getting rotten and shoving everything this way, they got broke. But that right there is exactly how they got up in the loft to where their tobacco was. Now we're getting things a little bit more cleaned up for you, so you can see what we're doing in here. See what it really looks like with all that stuff laying on the ground. I love those hinges right there. That is just cool. But we got to really watch what we do in here, because all this lean, the more you take out, well, the less you got holding everything up. But you know what? We get it out of there. Well, we are down to the end of day 1, and as you could see, over there was where the stairs and stuff used to be going up to the loft. So we've took a good, I'm guessing, about 8 feet off of the total of it. It's gone. This is the last of the load that goes to the truck to get loaded, and we'll see you for day 2. Starting out with day 2 on our barn project here, and we are going to attempt to go into the next set of stalls on both sides. They're approximately about 8 feet deep. We're going to try to get this this other interior wall out. Got my stabilizers and stuff down on the backhoe. Now what I try to do, anytime that there's something that's, some of these things are weight bearing, some of them aren't. But one good way is to give them a little tug with that bucket right there. And if I can lift that up, that means there's no weight on it. And I can move on to the next one, or just keep it up under there for safety. But that one did move, so we got some weight somewhere on that. Just in case it's that one board, or the series of the boards that's there, we don't know. We'll keep that there for safety's sake, and we'll see what happens. Well, we just got our last door off. I think it's the last one. Yeah. To unveil the little stall that we're getting ready to go into. Pretty nice porch back there. little feeding trough right here. Probably, you know what, these are kind of small, and that little feeding trough, these were probably for ponies instead of, you know, big horses. And these were probably little ponies, or they could have been mules. And here's the door we got off. Now, the tops of them are good, of course, but the bottoms, a little bit bad there. We had to cut it to get it out. As you can see, we got a spot there where it's bad. But what we do in these case instances, when we have the whole barn and the other boards, we pick up what I've termed as a donor, and we'll find a donor to replace that board right there and put it back as original as possible so it can be used. That one in particular, I love that hinge down there, but I don't know about that one up there. Okay, we're going to let this roll. I got to push on a couple of the poles here. Film the getting the zombie box out, or the Tasmanian devil box out. And there it is. So we're going to get it on film for you. Maybe. Yeah, it's coming. Oh yeah, there, buddy. Okay, here's where we're at right now. That was the wall we was wanting to get down today, the last one. But there's too much stuff leaning on top of it. So we're going to try to get it out of there. Left on that to clean it up. Got the claws hung in a thing on top there. Pretty much pulled most of it in. I'll take you inside here a little bit. Damage is done. It ain't gonna cave in no more. But that stall is gone, and we're down to this one, and then that's the end pretty much there. Gotta get that hinge off. That's the end of that one. Same way, both corners read out. But we still got this wall, that one back in there, and what is left, this one. But we're pretty much gonna have to get rid of what's on top before we pull that last wall out. Here's another look at where things went to after we started pulling the rafters and things down. A lot of it fell in. Anyway, that's where we're at. Many of you might be wondering the process that we go through here. Each day I'm bringing some of these things home. You know, that's all of our doors that we got out there. And we're storing them on our specially made pallets. The bucket slides right up under there, right through those little cracks, and you lift it up like a forklift. And we got our bigger boards and stuff back here. And all this will be sitting here until I get the backhoe back off the job and get it back down here. I gotta have it to get it back there where the barn's at. but then it'll be stored back there. It'll be air stacked where it can breathe, and any moisture that it may get through whatever reasons, it has a chance to dry out. We got our hinges and stuff, all of our hardware that we're getting right there, so that we can get to it, keep it all together. We brought the bottom of our buckboard home. That's the way it sits, by the way, and that would have been the front piece because of the hole there. That's where it would turn. And the sides of your boards were held up by those pieces right there. And then you could hook your pans or your coffee pots back in the day, whatever you had for the trail, right on those little hooks there. This is kind of a utility type purpose, but that's what they were for. This is Farmhouse. We're on day 5, and it was a pretty day out, so we took today to get most of the stuff that we're not going to use on down the mountain. The stuff that's rotten and bent and stuff. We decided to go ahead and burn here on the property, but at some point it ends up like this. It does all come down, and we will weed through it and find what we can use, and what we can't we'll take on down the mountain. We got our metals and stuff back here. That will be going to a metal place where they can melt it down and get rid of the rusted parts and stuff. I'm sure there's not a lot left, but we've got some tires and things. We'll be turning those in. And what the tires is used for? Well, there's a lot of commercial tiles and stuff that's used. You'll notice some of them in Walmart, some of them, a lot of hospitals and the foyers have them, and they are made from recycled tires. A lot of your playground, I guess, pellets, and they might call them pellets, the little rubber pellets, and some of them's collared and stuff, and they commercially there has to be, I think, 3 inches in a child's playground. Those are also made from recycled tires. So be sure to take your things to the proper places where they can be used, and don't burn them.
Next episode, we peel back another layer of Farmhouse. We'll take you up through some East Kentucky roads to where the rust hits, picking through some of the most unique private stash locations. Looking for our next Farmhouse project, reclaiming and redesigning into new and extreme. Find us.